Up, I'm going to be recording this training session because we are hoping to put these on our website in case you ever need to refer back to them. So while we get started, welcome to our Connecting Chicago tutor training. My name is Rem and I'm one of the founders of Connecting Chicago. We're so excited to have all of you here. I know a lot of you might be returning tutors, some of you are new, but regardless, we're so happy to have you on our team. So why don't we get started? We're going to try to make this as painless as possible. I know that you all have a lot going on, but if you are not in the Pear Deck yet, it looks like one or two people might not be. The code is in the top right here. So just go to joinpd.com. And I know I've said that a million times. So just to get started, please take a moment and put in your first and last name. And we're just going to use this to mark you off on the spreadsheet. Okay, perfect. Looks like everyone's responded. Moving along. So we're going to get started by taking a look at Connecting Chicago's mission statement. And I'm going to let you just read this to yourself for a moment and think about what that means and how that's going to inspire your role as a volunteer with us. Perfect. So a little bit about our story. So my name is Rem, and along with my partner, Lucy Gold, who also is a junior at Peyton, we founded Connecting Chicago in early 2020 in the midst of the COVID lockdowns. We started by providing free daily check-in calls to isolated individuals, particularly seniors, just to give them a little sense of company and someone to talk to early on. But when CPS returned to remote learning, we recognized that there was a huge need and that a lot of students would be left behind. Now, fast forward to November 2020, we have impacted over 1,000 Chicagoans. We have more than 250 tutors involved in our free virtual tutoring service. And we've also been mentioned in Teen Vogue, Chicago Parent, Scholastic Magazine, and a few other outlets. So our goals, and this is where you guys come in. Our goal is to supplement and support school learning, and we do this by helping students in K through 12 with assignments and also developing our own lesson plans. We offer a completely free tutoring service, and this is done through video calls, through Zoom and Google Meet, and the beauty of this is that your safety is completely maintained and that you're really impacting the community. A lot of the feedback that we've gotten both from tutors and from parents is that this has been an incredibly meaningful and impactful program. So we are so appreciative of all of you. Getting started, so a brief look at what our steps are. On November 6th, which is this Friday, you're going to receive one or more emails for each student that you've been paired with. And we're basing this off of all of the interests and your availability that you marked on your volunteer sign-up form. So we're really working on pairing everyone so that you get the best possible match. You're going to need to get connected with the parent through email or text. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. You'll need to arrange and hold an initial call with the parent to learn more about their child. Just a nice way to introduce yourself, get the communication flowing. If you are already tutoring with Connecting Chicago, you will most likely keep your pairing, but unless you get the email pairing with that specific student, it'll be whatever you receive on Friday. And obviously adapt this because you don't need to reintroduce yourself if you've already been in communication. After that, you'll set up your first meeting with the student and you'll have to create your own meet codes. We can go over this a little bit later, but basically you'll need to create your own Zoom or Google Meet code. Both are free. After that, you should really come to the first meeting with the intention of getting to know your student. And then after that, you'll prepare for future sessions with the knowledge of your student's needs. So a little bit about engaging with parents. This is really important because you always need to communicate with the parent. You should always reach out to the parent before and in between meetings so that they know if you're going to be meeting with their child. Please let us know if you're having a hard time getting in touch with your student's parent or guardian. All that information will be provided on Friday. But if you don't hear back by, let's say, like Tuesday of next week, you should let us know and just send us an email, and we'll happily intervene and repair you because we don't want you to come into this program empty handed. Um, you should frequently check in with the parent, understand how the student's doing in school and also outside of school so that you can really cater to their needs every time that you meet. And then also make sure to clarify a few important questions. So some parents have indicated on their sign up form whether or not they would like their student to be assigned homework or extra enrichment. So really try to understand what the parent's looking for in that. And then also, um, some parents just want tutoring to supplement the learning they're doing in school, and other parents or guardians would like you to produce even more detailed lessons where you're teaching new content. So it really just depends, what the family's looking for. Just because I've seen a few new people jump in, if you're new, please go to joinpd.com and enter this code in the top right of my screen. Thanks so much. So we're going to take a pause for a second. Does anyone have questions so far? Feel free to unmute yourself or just type them in the Pear Deck.
I have a quick question.
Yes, that's Ava. Go ahead.
So, if the parent does say that they want like some type of homework, is it more like you should assign like Khan Academy stuff or just like make your own worksheet?
So we don't expect you to create your own worksheet. Obviously, if you would like to do that, you're more than welcome to. But what I would recommend is just like, let's say you're a math tutor, feel free to assign a few modules on Khan Academy or find a math worksheet that you think would be beneficial. We will go into this later, but we've created really detailed resources for each subject. So there is some more detailed guidance for assigning homework.
Okay,
And we
all
are
right.
always helpful. We're always happy to answer any questions. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Cool. I'm just taking a look to see if anyone has any questions in the Pear Deck. Okay. Someone asked, how do you approve us as volunteers? I'm not completely sure what you're asking by that question, but I can tell you this. Completing this volunteer training is sufficient for becoming a volunteer. And as long as you are a current high school, college, or grad school student, um, oops, sorry, they're adding more. How do we know that they're qualified to teach a subject? So the short answer is that we don't exactly know that you're qualified. However, because this is a completely free program, this is a volunteer opportunity. So we just don't have the capacity right now to evaluate whether everyone, like we can't look at everyone's application. But we basically go through a wider lens, making sure that you all complete this training that we think you should know and that qualifies you to be a tutor. Okay, perfect. So moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about how to structure your lessons and how to approach every tutoring session that you attend. You should come to each of your sessions with a plan and agenda. This is really important that you kind of consider how every minute of your 45 minutes is spent because it's valuable. You don't want to waste your time or your students' time. So especially for our returning tutors, please answer in the Pear Deck what practices have worked for you and what hasn't worked. And then we'll talk about this for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna give it like 30 more seconds and then I'll share all of your responses. Don't worry, because this is completely anonymous. They'll just see that you're like, everyone's name is disguised as either elephant, pufferfish, or mollusk. Okay, let's take a look. So here are some ideas that people have shared, and feel free when you approach your lesson planning to take some of these good experiences into consideration. So some people pre-make Jamboards with practice questions, read aloud to know what they are currently learning or what they may need more help with in our upcoming session. This allows me to ensure I'm familiarized with the subject as well as have time to find videos, problems that may help them learning with material. Um, we start with a 5-minute meditation session, then jump into his homework, or if he does not have any, we work on math problems related to what he is learning. Meditation is actually really popular with a lot of our tutors, just to kind of get to know your student better, um, and take a break and decompress from everything going on right now. It works well when a student comes in with specific questions for me to answer. It's more difficult when we don't have much direction. I definitely hear that. But that's one of those things where it's sometimes good to plan the lesson where you're taking the lead and obviously pause for questions. But I guess it really depends on the student. Um, Helping my 2D with homework has worked really well. Having her share her screen so we can work on it together is really nice. Also on Google sharing assignments so I can help edit, definitely. From past experiences with tutors of my own, I have found that the best way to structure lesson includes independent work and then a review of said work together, definitely. Edpuzzle and Quizlet, uh, Khan Academy, definitely. Communication's important. Okay. Um, Someone asked, what do I think works better, Zoom or Google Meets? I'll just recommend Zoom personally because there is a whiteboard feature, which a lot of people have enjoyed collaborating with because, let me see if I can do this myself. I can't figure it out right now, but there is an option where basically you can share a whiteboard where you'll both be able to draw and explain things together, which a lot of tutors find helpful for explaining different concepts. Moving along, here are just some best practices. So we talked a lot about this, but it's always good to begin a session with a check-in. So dedicate like 3 to 5 minutes every time just to chat, get to know each other, because normally if we would be in person, there would be, opportunities for unstructured chatting. But since we're in a virtual age, it's good to just plan that in and dedicate time for that. I recommend that you create a slideshow with a lesson plan. We provide examples of this in your resources. Always make time for homework or asking homework questions. Create a notes sheet or key concept sheet just to review certain things that your 2D can find beneficial. And then it's always good to begin with openers and end with exit slips. Something that we'll mention later on is that exit slips are a great way of getting to understand where your students at, what specific areas you need to target, and also just, like evaluate how their progress is coming along. Here's, for example, just a really basic sample lesson slide where you might start your lesson with. So you could provide an agenda with sectioned out times. For example, I believe this is for math. So a journal entry, review of concepts, homework, as well as a Jamboard activity, and then also a really fun question like if you could live on any planet, which one would it be? So this is something new for both our new and our returning tutors. Recently, we developed this concept, and it's really our tutoring ethos. It can be brought down to the acronym AIR, which stands for Arrange, Instruct, and Revamp. This cycle is something that you should consider every single time you approach a lesson. So you start by arranging the lesson plan and considering what is going to work best. Then you instruct it and you consider the best practices, put those into use. Be patient, be energetic, be warm, all those great things. And then after, you want to revamp. You want to reflect on what worked well, what didn't, how you can improve, how your students reacting to all of the things that you're doing. So that's a key element. The reflection and revamp part is something new that we're excited about. And there's some questions on your specific resources that will talk a little bit about how you can ask yourself questions to prompt yourself to succeed in this ethos. Here's an important reminder. So because everything is over a virtual meeting platform, you must use Zoom or Google Meet to record sessions. That means that you can't use FaceTime or talk over the phone. All sessions must be recorded for the entirety of the session. Parents are aware of this policy, but it's critical that you implement it because if something were to happen on your end or on the parent's end, we need to have a record of it. You must maintain a recording for a minimum of 45 days. And new to this quarter, we have a system where every week on Mondays in the Google Classroom, we're going to post an assignment where you can just easily upload all the recordings into. And then by the end of the week, you'll submit it just so that you don't have to keep track of a massive Google Drive folder and that we can take a look. We do reserve the right to audit recordings, which means that if you're not recording and uploading the sessions, we can prevent you from continuing tutoring. So the easiest answer is to just record and upload from the beginning so that we can avoid any issues. On a more serious note, there has been an incident where we suspected child abuse. And because that session was not recorded, it was just unfortunate because some questions went unanswered. But don't worry about that. Just recording would be an easy solution to alleviate that process. With that said, if you ever experience anything suspicious or concerning, please reach out to our leadership team immediately. You can do this via email or text or phone call. We're very responsive and we would be happy to guide you through any question. This could be anything as serious as suspected child abuse to anything as minuscule as help planning your lesson. We are here for you. We don't expect you to do everything on your own. We're happy to help. So in the chat, and this is going to be in our Zoom chat, go ahead and type to everyone, what are some platforms that you enjoy to use? Some that you might have used or that you're looking forward to using. This might be Quizlet, Pear Deck, Jamboard, Kahoot, the Zoom whiteboard feature. So just go ahead. And I'm just going to take a moment and remind anyone who might have joined us since we started, please join our Pear Deck by going to joinpd.com and entering this code in the top right. Thank you so much. Awesome. So we have people saying Edpuzzle, Kahoot, Jamboard, Khan Academy whiteboard, YouTube. All of these are awesome. Quilt I've never heard of. Kuda's new to me. But these all sound great.
Well, it was a typo. It was supposed to be Quizlet.
Oh, cool. Awesome. So here we're just gonna, this is more for you to refer back to later on, but you can take a moment and if you're unfamiliar with any of these platforms, feel free to look back at this slideshow where you can click on, like you can learn more about some of these specific resources so that you know how to implement them. Here's more, and these will be on the website on the volunteer page. So now what we're going to take a moment to do is I'm going to explain. So in the past 4 weeks, our resource development team has been compiling resources and developing best practices for these 3 subject areas: English language arts, mathematics, and world languages. And depending on which subject area you are assigned to tutor in, this should be really your launch pad for how you tutor. So please, we're going to take like 3 or 4 minutes. Go ahead and just open these links, click them. I just want to make sure that you understand that they're here and see that they're here so that they don't go to waste. So go ahead and click in between them. If you ever want to refer back to them, as you can see on here, we have a volunteer page on our website. And on that volunteer page, there's tutoring resources where you can find this slides presentation. There'll be a recording of this, this training, and then you can also access all of these. So let's take like 3 minutes to take a look at these. Okay, that wasn't quite 3 minutes, but I think we're going to continue. And if you ever want to refer back to these, you can always find them on our website, like I mentioned earlier. Um, So a little bit about our current times. So with COVID-19, we just want to mention that you are coping, your student is coping, it is impacting everyone. Um, Health-wise, economically, we are all impacted by the coronavirus. Your role is to be a supporter, but we also recognize that you're not a doctor. So for that reason, you don't have to give medical advice. In fact, we advise against it because that's a way to get sued. Um, but we really appreciate your role, and we just want you to understand that your job is not a doctor, um, so don't provide medical advice. So keep in mind, here are just a few things that you should consider before approaching your student. Remember that they, just like you, are on their screen a lot. Um, so it's tiring for them just as much as it is for you. Internet access is not always the same for everyone. So that means that they might have buffering. All of our students have internet except for a few specific cases, in which case you will be notified. Always watch videos before recommending them or showing them in the lesson. Teach the process, not the answer. I know it's hard to explain in over the computer, but you always want to try to explain things as best as you can. You're a role model, so act like it. Plan out how you're going to explain concepts. Remember that some students don't learn it best one way, so think about another way or 3 ways that you could explain the same outcome. And also just know that we are so thankful for you and your time, just as much as all of your students' parents are. Um, we're so grateful that you're able to help us out. So now we're going to take a moment. How have you made accommodations for your 2D to reduce computer fatigue or make tutoring more engaging for them? We're not going to go over this a ton, but just take a moment to reflect on it. So briefly, just to touch on what some people are saying, um, some people create word problems on the things that they know that their student is interested in, which is awesome. Um, Other tutors like to talk about their interests, daily life, like music and other extracurriculars. Another tutor does meditation, and he really likes to act. So whenever we have low energy, we read scripts with each other. Um, Someone else suggests that they might implement a dance break or a simple 5-minute break away from the screen. Because these are 45-minute sessions, that definitely could be helpful. Uh, okay. So briefly on stopping and suspending volunteering, if you ever need to stop your time volunteering with Connecting Chicago for whatever reason, please reach out to us ASAP. You should do this if you would like to be reassigned. That might be because you're not getting along with your student, or perhaps there's something going on with your student's parent or guardian. Or if a commitment pops up, just know that by signing up, you did commit to tutoring through quarter 2, which ends at the end of January. And the last thing is, if you ever need to reschedule a session or you're going to be late, make sure that you reach out to the 2D's parent or guardian ASAP, just to make it easier on them. Stay connected. So we're going to take a minute, and I'm going to invite you all to pull out your phones, and feel free to I doubt many of you have Facebook, um, but feel free to follow us on Instagram. So we're going to take like 45 seconds to do that. And you can see that our Instagram handle is connecting_Chicago. All right, I'll give it like 5 more seconds. I can see that our number of followers is going up, which is awesome. Um, okay, moving on. So briefly, just to touch on what your next steps are and to reiterate what's going to happen. So very soon, we're going to send you a certificate of completion, which essentially certifies that you have completed this training and you are now ready to go on to be a Connecting Chicago tutor. This is also something that if you ever want to become a private tutor in the future, you could say and brag about, I've been trained by Connecting Chicago, who does this on a large scale. Once again, on Friday, November 6th, we're going to send pairing emails out. You should contact their parent or guardian ASAP, which means like within 24 hours of getting that email at the most, just so that we can sort out any issues that might arise. If you don't hear back from the parent or the guardian, email us by Tuesday or Wednesday, just so that we can help you out. Obviously, if anything happens later down the road, let us know. You're going to continue tutoring through January, and then later on, we'll invite you all to sign up for Q3 tutoring, although that opportunity is not yet open. So now what we're going to do is we're going to join the Google Classroom. So this is going to be how you you upload your recordings from tutoring sessions. And also if there's any like feedback forms or surveys down the line, this is how we'll communicate them. So just a heads up, most school emails, especially CPS emails, are weird and don't allow you to join our Google Classroom. So please join it with your personal email. If you don't have a personal email for whatever reason, then just go ahead and write this code down, create another email, and then join it because we need to stay in touch with you. You can also feel free to just click the link where it says click here in the Pear Deck. That might be faster than typing it in. So I'm going to give you a little bit more time for this because it's super important. And if you are having trouble joining this Google Classroom for whatever reason, can you please just send me a message in our Zoom chat so that I can reach out to you afterwards? Okay, we're making good progress on you all joining the Google Classroom. I'll probably give you like 30 more seconds. Let me know if you are having any issues joining it or if you need more time. Okay, perfect. We are going to keep moving along. The next thing is I'm going to invite you all to join our Remind. This is basically how we'll send text alerts to supplement emails, just because I know not everyone is great at checking emails or they can get brushed under the rug. So the way we do this, you're going to text the code down here to the number 81010. And you can do this just in your message app, and that'll basically be how you opt in for our text reminders. And again, I guess what I'll do actually, I'm going to put it in the chat, our Google Classroom code. Okay, does everyone understand how to join the Remind app? Any questions so far or troubles? And I just added that to the chat as well, because we're going to keep moving on and wrap this up soon. So really quickly, how well did you like this training? We've tried to make it more interactive, but just let us know honest feedback. Also know that this is anonymous. I'm not going to judge you. Cool. It looks like you all really enjoyed it. So with one last opportunity to answer questions and give us feedback, please answer these two. So first, what questions do you still have? And second, what's something that you learned today that you're going to implement when you start tutoring? Okay, I'm going to start working through these questions. Um, First, if our 2D has a week they don't want to tutor, they don't want to receive tutoring, what should we submit in the Google Classroom assignment? You can just mark it as done, and then we'll know. You can mark it as done and maybe send a private message, and then we'll know that we understand that. How do we reach out to our 2D's parent? So we only provide you with your 2D's parent information, not the 2D, just to protect their privacy. Um, and in that email that we send on Friday, there's going to be their email address and phone number. And we'll also provide like a template email in case you're not sure what to write to the parent. How do we contact you? And how do we tell the parent what supplement website to create an account for, like Quizlet or Khan Academy? So you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna communicate with the parents via text or email. I recommend doing both off the bat. And to contact us, that's gonna be on the next page, but we have an email address as well as a phone number. So you can reach out to us either way. How many days a week will we tutor, or do we set that up? So you will be tutoring for up to 2 sessions. Each session is 45 minutes. So depending on what your student's availability is, like basically you're going to create the schedule with the parent, but we assign based on number of students. So your student may want 1 or 2 sessions a week, depending. So up to 2 45-minute sessions a week. How can we confirm our service hours with our school through the program with email? Yep, please email us, which will be on the next slide. Do we choose our own schedule? I answered that. Um, yeah, like I said, that's important. We do offer service hours, so please reach out to us. Actually, what we're going to be doing, if you need them sooner, reach out to us. But at the end of the quarter, we're going to send out a certificate to everyone certifying that you've completed a certain amount of service hours. And we match, like, if you tutor 40 hours, you get 40 service hours. So it's a great way to get experience. Um, Will we be assigned to new 2Ds in the new quarter if we tutored last quarter? It depends. In most cases, you'll keep the same student unless for some reason they no longer wanted you to be their child's tutor. Will I get the same student? Yep. How can I better support my special needs 2D? So I believe we share this with you, but um, let me put at the end of this, I'm going to put in Fiona's email address, who you can ask with any questions on supporting students with an IEP or with special needs, so that we can best support. I received an email about tutors 18 plus needing mandated reporter training. How do we complete this? Basically, mandated reporter training, the link is on the website. It's through the Department of Child, it's through DCFS. So you just complete the training and send us a screenshot of your certificate, and then you're all set. If you can do that by Friday, that's awesome. Can I elaborate on diagnostic testing? Yes. So this is particularly with ELA, English Language Arts, and with math. I'm going to talk only about English Language Arts because that's more new. Basically, and this is explained in the specific resources, but the way that you can measure a student's progress is through diagnostic testing. And I know all of you have only experienced school through a classroom setting, but basically your teachers divide English language arts into 4 sections: phonics, reading comprehension, and 2 other things. Basically, diagnostic testing will allow you to understand which areas to target, and then from there, we provide specific resources on how to improve those areas. Because kind of like if you think about language in reading, listening, speaking, and writing, you can divide English language arts into 4 categories. And when you teach a concept or you practice something, you should focus more on certain areas than others. And it's really interesting because those same skills really benefit you on like standardized testing. Do we upload our video recordings every week? Yes, you do. If you are unclear about how to record a meeting, just Google it, how to record a Google Meet or a Zoom. Can we ask parents in advance what the child has been learning to prepare? Absolutely. You should definitely figure out what they've been learning in school. So with that, if anyone has any questions, feel free to stick around and unmute. Otherwise, like I mentioned, our website is connectingchicago.org. Our phone number is right here, 312-772-6064. And our email address is info@connectingchicago.org. If you are interested in getting involved to an even greater extent, we offer 2 different working groups. I lead our resource development team, which is currently working on basically our next major plan, which might likely be providing free standardized test prep for high school students. And then we also have a fundraising team that's going to help foster our fundraising.
Congrats! You've completed training for Quarter 3. Please join the Quarter 3 Tutors Google Classroom using the code on screen. You can also register for text alerts regarding updates about Connecting Chicago. To do this, text @CC3 to 81010. You will be emailed soon with the next steps about how to begin tutoring. Thank you!